What's your present situation? A student struggling to get a degree, hoping to land a white-collar job. An employee at a reputable firm earning your dream salary. An innovative mind thinking about the next big idea, capable of disrupting the norm. Whichever category you belong to, you imagine you'll wake up rich someday. What if I told you that you wouldn't make much out of this dream with your current thinking? Sounds harsh, right? But you'll get it soon. It starts with a child born into a society of bourgeois, middle class or poor. He grows to be accustomed to the culture and norms of that immediate environment. Whatever his parents and society tell him is true until he emancipates himself from the lies and realizes they've been feeding him the wrong food. He begins to unlearn some life principles he imbibed unconsciously. To become a successful fashion entrepreneur, it's best to understudy brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and others who have distinguished themselves in the field. This also applies to money. A person with a 9-to-5 job is probably not one to take wealth lessons from. While they might have quality advice for you, it doesn't spur you to greatness since you can't draw inspiration from their lives. My point is this: growing up, your parents and friends told you some money lies. They painted wealthy people as evil people who exploited the poor for massive gains. They also told you that these people came from privileged homes and merely leveraged generational wealth to become richer. You heard that you must go to college and acquire the highest degree to improve your worth in the office. While these suggestions might put a few bucks in your pocket, it's only a drop in the ocean compared to what the Elon Musks and Mark Zuckerbergs of today take home. To become wealthy, you must first purge your mind of some common money lies. If you're watching this video to be entertained, that's fine. However, if you think you deserve more out of life and want to be more intentional about wealth, you're here for a reason. So, we begin by debunking some money lies you were told growing up. Why do you need all that money? If you can get enough for yourself and your nuclear family, why amass so much wealth that would last a century, even if your generation didn't work? Sometimes, it's not about wealth, but the influence it brings. This explains why the likes of Bill Gates gives out most of his wealth to charity. Many have argued that rich people profit from the suffering of others. Worse still, they pay workers far less than what their labor produces. Take Amazon, for instance. Jeff Bezos earns at least $8.9 million hourly compared to the average worker, who earns around $12 to $48 per hour. But who does the groundwork to ensure you get your packages timely and safely? You guessed right. During the pandemic and subsequent lockdown in 2020, millions of workers lost their jobs, with others forced to work under dangerous circumstances. Although most companies paid extra to make up for the stress, it was nothing compared to what billionaires earned. In fact, their income grew by 62% during the period. So, many are plagued with the idea that becoming wealthy means feeding off the sweat of the poor. Therefore, it's not worth it. Well, it depends on your perspective. This video is not out to justify the rich and all they do, but we must see reasons with them. They may not be the evil we think they are. We must understand that this class of people think differently from the middle class or poor. If someone invests quality time incubating an idea and it eventually becomes successful, they deserve to reap the fruit of their labor. Studies show that 9 out of 10 startups fail, meaning that the remaining 1% must deal with a lot to be deemed successful. The billion-dollar company we see today would be non-existent if the founder gave up at some point or lost focus on the dream. Now that it's successful, it's only natural to reap the fruits. The commonest lie that has kept many people in poverty is that wealthy people are evil. If this premise is true, it means you'll become evil when you attain a certain level of wealth. Therefore, it's better to remain in the middle class and not dream too big. What if I told you that the poor are evil too? Evil exists on Earth and cuts across race, social class, religion, or ethnicity. People do not become evil because they have money. They chose to. It's possible to be wise and free from evil because the presence of wealth does not automatically mean the loss of innocence. Another lie you were told was that you came from a poor background and could not fund an idea even if you wanted to. Okay, this is not true, and you'll see why. It feels good to come from a rich family where uncles can help you raise millions of dollars in seed capital. Having your dad hand you a check to kickstart that business idea is also fantastic. However, success stories from many billionaires today suggest that some started from scratch without any help from family or friends. They had an idea and nurtured it to the point where it made sense for anyone to invest. Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, grew up in a poor environment. Every day, he dreamed of moving to the other side of society with more resources, a happier family, and more money. He knew the other side was attainable, so he struggled. He dreamt of achieving something that seemed impossible and worked towards it. His determination earned him a football scholarship to the University of Northern Michigan. After school, he took over Starbucks, which had only 60 shops. He became the company's CEO and expanded the coffee chain to over 16,000 outlets globally. Howard, alongside notable billionaires like Oprah Winfrey, Larry Ellison, Roman Abramovich, John Paul DeJoria, Ken Langone, Ralph Lauren, and many others. Think of what these billionaires suffered growing up and how they weathered the storm to reach their destination. Unfortunately, many who aspire to be wealthy focus on those who inherited wealth. Even when wealth is inherited, the heirs and heiresses must work smart to retain it. If you're lucky to stumble on wealth, that's good for you. But if it doesn't come by, you need to start from scratch with nothing. Your ability to think of a problem and solution out of nothing makes you wealthy. What solutions do you bring to the table? To become wealthy, you must think and act like a billionaire. When people say nothing could be done, a wealthy man says, "Give me some time, I'll think about it." Guess what he does afterwards? He starts building processes by thinking and finding solutions to that problem because he understands that the reward outweighs the stress. Here are some ways billionaires think that change their lives forever. So yes, you should earn a salary to survive. But no, banking on it to become the Jeff Bezos of today is impossible. Bezos wouldn't be where he is today if he had sold his expertise to a company that offered him a token in exchange. He knew what he wanted and went for it. The top 25 billionaires in the world have a cumulative wealth of over $1.5 trillion, constituting 16% of the total wealth held by the world's billionaires. Jeff Bezos earns at least $2,537 per second. Even after giving away $4.6 billion of his Microsoft shares to charity, Bill Gates still earns over $330 million monthly. You're already doing a mental calculation and comparing these figures to what you currently earn. Not to worry, that amount is too insignificant and cannot stand alongside what these billionaires get even on a bad business day. In the US, Jeff Bezos can earn an average American salary of around $56,516 in 46 seconds, while Zuckerberg, Gates, and Buffett would do the same in just over a minute. If you're lucky enough to be in one of the highest paying fields in the US, it means that you earn at least $269,000 annually. Bill Gates needs to stare at his clock for 35 minutes to get the equivalent of your salary. On the other hand, Jeff Bezos would wait only 5 minutes to earn the same amount. If you do the math, it feels like the numbers don't make sense, but that is their reality. You're probably feeling cheated knowing you dedicate several hours to your job, and one CEO isn't doing much but earning an equivalent of your salary within minutes. Many billionaires believe a salary is a cage, whether big or small. It gives you an illusion of freedom, but your boss controls you in reality. The company you work for detects your working and closing hours, determines when you take a leave of absence, and your worth. If you desire to be rich, it's unwise to plan your life around a salary. Rather, focus on your passion while doing your 9-to-5 job. Most wealthy people you see today started as employees, but seeing that they wanted more out of life, they switched gears. As to whether it paid off, you can see things for yourself. In every society, peculiar problems are waiting to be solved. From getting a convenient and affordable taxi to take you to your location, to purchasing stuff online. There's a lot we need to do with ease. Before Amazon, people squeezed out time from their busy schedules to visit stores to buy what they needed. Not only was this inconvenient, but they could also buy fakes. Jeff Bezos was quiet, but studied the market and people's needs. Billionaires see opportunities in problems. This may come off as them exploiting the masses, but it makes sense because these people need the service and would pay for it. So, let's see how Amazon solved a problem and got billions of dollars in rewards. Regarding revenue, Amazon is the biggest internet-based company in the world. It began in 1994 by selling books online. Jeff Bezos said that the best way to grow online was to grow big and fast. You can tell that he kept to his words, judging by how far Amazon has come. Today, the company sells everything from groceries to books and even shipping containers. Only a few envisioned a time when they could purchase whatever they wanted from the comfort of their homes. Amazon was first incorporated in 2005. At the time, Bezos was a Wall Street hedge fund executive. The company was originally named Cadabra, coined from abracadabra, but Bezos' lawyer advised him against it. The confused entrepreneur registered various domain names, hoping to find the most striking ones. Top on his list was relentless.com, browse.com, awake.com, and bookmall.com. He was still not convinced and continued researching. Eventually, he found the word Amazon. He had dreamed that his online store would be the biggest in the world, much like the biggest river on the planet. This expansion philosophy made Amazon the one-stop shop for anything you need. Amazon.com was registered in 1994, so the question of what to sell rang in his head. Although he had a glimpse of what he wanted, the vision needed to be clearer. He knew he wanted to become an online retailer, but needed to figure out what to sell. After intense research, he settled for books because they were relatively easier to source, package, and distribute. While Bezos popularized the idea, he wasn't the first to develop the business strategy. Another company called Computer Literacy, a Silicon Valley bookstore, began something similar in 1991. However, Amazon was the game changer. It offered greater convenience from the word go and was based on a model of delivering the orders to the customer's doorstep globally. Pause for a second and imagine what life was like in 1994. The internet had less prominence than now, so this idea was disruptive. Many doubted it and chose to try to see if it worked before ordering more books. I can imagine the shock on their faces when they confirmed it was real. The success of the online bookstore paved the way for expansion into other areas. The company gradually became a technology company, passionate about simplifying online transactions for its customers. Here's the thing about finding a problem and proffering solutions. People think you're crazy for thinking out the box. I mean, can't you see that you'll have competitors with more money? How do you intend to convince investors about your not-so-perfect idea? Bezos was also at the receiving end of criticism and skepticism when he released his business model. Financial journalists didn't let him breathe. They forecasted that his dreams were dead on arrival and even called it Amazon.bomb. Many speculated that he would lose out to more established bookstores building their e-commerce sites at the time. They already have offline customers. All they needed to do was launch online to expand their reach. Jeff Bezos didn't have it all figured out, but knew he stood a chance. The fact that the company didn't become profitable until the last quarter of 2001 gave analysts more reasons to discourage him. Bezos stayed true to his vision, knowing there was a loophole in the online retail market. He was willing to do all it took to leave a mark. By December 1996, the company's customer base grew to 180,000, and by October of the following year, it rose to 1 million registered accounts. In 1997, Amazon.com went public and raised a whopping $54 million on the NSDA exchange. Aside from the cash, the company used stock sales to fund its aggressive growth strategy. By 1998, the company had reached the $600 million revenue mark. Amazon also uses the latest technological innovation to increase efficiency. This is something that many online stores still grapple with. They'll be far behind when they realize the extent to which Amazon has gone. From using AI to handle orders to experimenting with robots for delivery, Amazon isn't phasing out anytime soon. Individuals worth over $1 million constitute only 1.1% of the world's population and hold 45.8% of global wealth. If becoming wealthy was that easy, we should have at least 30% of humans in that category. The wealthiest people today own businesses and add value to people's lives. If your product and service relieve human needs, they'll buy it regardless of the cost. Think of luxury goods and how overpriced they are. An average man would not consider a Ferrari when a Nissan or Kia can drive him to his destination without stress. However, someone who wants class and comfort would pay millions of dollars for a single car, provided it offers him the level of comfort he yearns for. Solving a problem means becoming a person of value. A person of value is an asset to the community, nation, and world. To get to that level where you think beyond the present, you must first develop certain competencies that give you the ability to add value. These competencies must be refined like a shining light that blooms wherever you go. The idea of Amazon works in developed and developing countries because we make purchases daily. What problem are you solving today? After finding a problem and proffering solutions, your business needs to scale, or else it fizzles out. The Mark Zuckerbergs of today did not shiver out of business after receiving their first wave of demand. While pursuing business growth, many entrepreneurs lose focus on why they started, which can upturn their dream of becoming the billionaire they've always wanted to be. Scalability is the ability of a business to cope with challenges efficiently and maintain or increase profits as it grows. In other words, every company must try to increase profit while reducing expenses. Many businesses struggle today because while they grow, they incur more expenses than they can handle. The danger of being unable to scale is disastrous and causes your idea to fold. We'll continue to take lessons from Jeff Bezos' Amazon. The company reached where it is today because it was consistent in its vision and goals. Therefore, scaling was a walk in the park. Amazon's magic that helped it remain relevant today is that it still operates like a founder-driven startup in several key areas. This is true because Bezos has cultural influence throughout his company and has deliberately invented tools to institutionalize these values in the company. For instance, the company is still customer-focused, like in 1994 when it commenced business. Before Amazon releases a new product, they send out an internal press release announcing it. This helps prospective customers understand the product and the problem it's solving. Amazon says this trick helps them work backward from the customer rather than starting an idea for a product and trying to bolt customers onto it. If the team cannot publish a compelling press release, it refines its thinking or reconsiders the idea, as it may not be what the customers need. The company is constantly in touch with customers through its excellent customer service. When a company grows to a certain level, it becomes impossible for the founder to be hands-on in decision-making. However, when they set up an efficient hiring process, they get the same value as though they're there. Seeing that this company was slowly slipping out of his control, Bezos implemented bar raisers. These employees are trained evaluators that interview job candidates. They can screen any candidate, even those outside their field. This trick has helped Amazon employ diverse people with multiple skills. Until 2001, Amazon did not make a profit, but this did not discourage the founder. As of 2022, Amazon makes over $1.29 billion daily in revenue. It remains the largest retail company in the world, offering services to small businesses, corporations, and individuals. Amazon's greatest secret is its ability to invest all of its profit back into the company so that it will profit more in the future. They invest in upgrading distribution networks, building data centers, and creating wind and solar farms. That way, it doesn't have to take loans and incur interest costs. Companies like WeWork and Uber are now emulating this strategy. Whenever Amazon releases its quarterly profit, analysts are divided about its future. Some say the company is failing, while others say it's winning. No one talks about the cash flow. Many have misconceived the idea of running a successful business. They think you have to own it forever or become the CEO to see it work. The two major routes to becoming wealthy are owning your company and managing it with shareholders or selling it for an incredible sum. We've talked about owning and managing one's business, so let's see how you can grow your company and sell it off at a mouthwatery price. In 2017, Amazon purchased Whole Foods for $13.7 billion. John Mackey founded Whole Foods as he was passionate about organic foods and ethically sourced meat. Unfortunately, he was gradually losing grip of his business, but Amazon came along. Jeff Bezos was a scalability enthusiast, willing to introduce natural foods into his chain of stores, plus Whole Foods could not withstand the competition at the time. Mackey didn't want to sell his company, but investors coerced him into it, as his company stood no chance in the burgeoning natural foods market. Entrepreneurs bold enough to build a successful business from scratch would be lucky to be discovered by the likes of Amazon and sell it for an unbelievable sum. In most cases, the money is enough to float another startup from scratch and grow it to the point where giants like Amazon compete to get it. Do you see why money will likely remain in the hands of a few people? The road to entrepreneurship is thorny and not a guarantee for success. For every billionaire the world produces, 9 others fail. Notice that none of the names mentioned here were salary earners or limited their thinking to their immediate environment. Becoming wealthy means solving a global problem. Even if it costs millions of dollars, you'll have people do everything to have it. Think about living and not having to worry about the prices of things because you can afford them without lifting a finger. How about leaving so much for your family that your children don't have to bother about a 9-to-5 job? If these prospects excite you, it's time to look beyond your present situation and start working as Bezos did. If this video made you uncomfortable about your present financial status, it's time to take a leap. Please tell us what you're doing differently going forward. Please like and subscribe to this channel for updates on our latest videos.